Good morning everyone, my name is Ryan, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build your very own custom computer. There's only one tool you're going to be needing, and that's a screwdriver. The components you'll be needing are a hard drive, a motherboard, a GPU, a CPU cooler, at least one stick of RAM, a power supply, and a case to hold everything. It's time to start building. Things may look intimidating, but it's very easy. If you can build Legos, you can build a computer. First, install the RAM into the motherboard. It only goes in one way and it should click into place. Next, install the CPU. Lift up on the retention bracket and gently place the CPU in it. Make sure you line up the triangle on the CPU with the triangle on the motherboard. Finally, push down the retention bracket to secure the CPU. After that, place the CPU cooler on top of the CPU and line up the screws to the holes that are in the motherboard. Once that is done, tighten the screws in a crisscross pattern so the CPU cooler compresses evenly on the CPU. Next, plug in the CPU cooler to the motherboard. The location of the connector will be labeled for you. Now install the power supply in the case. Slide the wires in first and move them to the outside. Double check the fan on the power supply to make sure it is pointing toward the bottom and finish sliding it in. Once that is done, tighten the two screws on the power supply to secure them to the case. Next, flip the case on its side and place the motherboard in. All of the ports should be facing outside of the case, and don't forget to line up the screw holes on the motherboard to the holes in the case. Finally, tighten all 6 screws to secure the motherboard. Next, install the GPU. This process is just like installing the RAM, so it only goes in one way. The GPU should also click into place, just like the RAM. Finally, fasten the 2 screws where the GPU touches the case. Next, plug in the fan connector to the port on the motherboard. Now, go ahead and feed the power supply wires for the CPU, GPU, and motherboard through the case and plug them into their ports. Now is a good time to install the hard drive. Slide it into the hard drive bay with the ports facing you. Grab the hard drive's power supply wire and plug it in. This is where the 3 wires that we routed through the case earlier plug into. Next, route the wires from the front panel of the case inside below the motherboard. Plug those wires into the motherboard. Everything will be labeled and it should look something like this once you're done. Next, grab a SATA connector. Plug one end into the motherboard and route the other end through the case so you can plug it into the hard drive. Finally, clean up the excess wires by tucking them into the case. This will allow the side panel to slide on and be secured with 2 screws. The last thing you'll need to do is get a copy of Windows on a flash drive, plug it in, and Windows will start installing automatically. There you have it. Building a computer is simple and easy, and it makes a great weekend project.